Hello, everyone, and welcome to our tween programming course. I'm so glad you'll be joining us for this 5-week class. My name is Amanda Struckmeyer, and I have 7 years of experience as a youth services librarian and head of youth services at the Middleton Public Library in Middleton, Wisconsin. I've also been a school librarian, and I actually just started a new job as a school librarian at an elementary school in Middleton, Wisconsin as well. I was really lucky in the public library, and I'm really fortunate in the school library as well to have the chance to work with a lot of tweens. So I've kind of built up a repertoire of resources and programs and ideas, and I'm hoping to share those with you. And I'm so glad that you're on the tween programming bandwagon as well. So our goal is really to give you a foundation in programming for tweens, as well as resources for ideas, so that you have the tools to continue developing stellar tween programs long after this course has ended. We'll be doing introductions this week, and you'll see that each participant in the class has a unique background. Some of you may have extensive programming experience, and some of you may just be getting your feet wet. The same goes for experience in general with tweens. You may have lots of experience with this age group, or this may be a completely new age group for you. No matter where you're coming from, I want this to be a valuable course for you. So feel free to reach out anytime with questions, ideas, suggestions, something that would make the content or the assignments more valuable or more pertinent to you. We do have a lot of flexibility, so please reach out if there's anything that you'd like to suggest or ask. You'll find my email address in the About the Instructor section of the Welcome and Overview content. Email is really the best way to contact me. I have included my phone number. You can feel free to text or call. Just be sure to identify yourself so I know, so I have a little context. But email, as I said, is probably the best. You'll get probably the quickest response to an email, but feel free to call or text if you need to. This week I encourage you to take time to become familiar with Learn at UW. It can be a little bit daunting at first, but I promise it'll feel like second nature by the time we're done with this course. Be sure to locate the syllabus and also the discussion forum, as well as each week's content. These are really your 3 main areas that we'll need to focus. You'll be visiting the discussion forum each week at least once, probably multiple times, and each week our content is posted in the content portion. You'll notice in the syllabus that 50 out of a 50 possible points total is needed for a passing grade for this class. And a complete assignment will yield the full points. So don't worry about earning 49 points and failing the course. As long as you complete your assignments and participate in the discussions, you'll receive the full 50 points. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to contact me. All of our readings for this course are online, so there is no required textbook. I have listed 3 recommended books in the syllabus. These are completely optional. You may want to borrow them from your library before you consider purchasing, just to see if they contain ideas that appeal to you. But these are great resources to have on your shelf to just have ideas at your fingertips for tweens. And there are many more books out there too that contain great ideas. So these are just kind of a starting point. Our reading this week is the Toronto Public Library's Middle Child Framework. And now this framework takes into consideration ages 6 to 12. And when we're talking about tweens, we're typically talking 8 to 12, 9 to 13, something in there. There are a lot of kind of different names for this and definitions, but we'll kind of be thinking 8 to 12, 9 to 13, maybe 8 to 13, just kind of as a general idea. So the framework really speaks to tween services, even though the age group is wider than just tweens. So it does have a couple of years added to the younger end, but it still really is pertinent to what we're talking about in this course. So let's just jump in with talking about a little bit about why it's important to provide programming at a library specifically for tweens. A lot of times at libraries we see excellent attendance and participation from babies, toddlers, preschoolers, even early school age kids. And then we maybe have a teen program specifically geared towards teens. We maybe even have a teen librarian. But a lot of times those kids in the middle are just kind of left with maybe a summer reading program is available. Maybe they could have the option of coming to an elementary event or a teen event. But a lot of times we fail to kind of really design something that has tweens in mind, and they really are their own kind of population. So they really deserve to have that. And if we lose the kids after the early school age programs or after the story times, and then we offer the teen programs, 5-6 years later, we may not be seeing those kids again. So we want to really retain those kids and the patrons, and we want the library to be useful and fun and engaging for patrons of all ages all through their lives. So we want to really dig into those tween interests and offer something for them too. And working with tweens can be really fun and really rewarding. This is a really unique age group. Tweens have so much independence and so much enthusiasm, and it is really going to add to your programs and probably your professional life as well. Tweens can obviously do more than, say, a story time crowd. So it's nice. You can take things several steps further than you could in, say, a story time, because you don't have to spend your prep time cutting out, 100 teddy bears or something. You can come in with some general ideas and supplies, and they will just run with it. So it's kind of magical what happens. And you have to maybe go in with a little less structure, a little less sense of control, and just be willing to kind of see where things go. And their skills just allow you to do more because they're more developed than the early school age or the story time kiddos. But working with this age group can certainly be daunting. I know when I first started, I thought I didn't know if I could relate to them, and I wasn't sure. It just seemed like trends changed so fast, and I wasn't sure how to find out what they even liked or keep on top of trends. And we're going to dig into that over the next 5 weeks. So I want to assure you right now, you are going to be able to do it, and you will love it. One discussion question this week is about existing tween services in your library and your community. So when you're doing some research for this question, be sure to check out after-school programs, including childcare. For example, in our community, the YMCA provides on-site childcare at elementary schools for up through 5th grade. So that certainly includes part of our tween age group that we're discussing. Look at extracurriculars, scouts, sports, social service offerings, and activities offered by religious organizations and community organizations such as the YMCA or independent sports places. And this is really going to give you an idea of what's currently available. So you can possibly piggyback on something that's existing. And you can also avoid duplication. For example, at the public library, we learned that a craft program was being offered by the community center that was directly across the street from our library. So when we saw that listing, we knew to avoid offering a craft program at that time, and maybe if we were going to do something craft-oriented, make it distinct enough as to avoid duplication. So we don't want to step on anyone's toes, but we definitely want to work together and collaborate when we can. And those relationships take time and effort to develop. So one thing at a time. So don't worry if you don't go into it already collaborating, because that does take a lot of time. Um, and the other thing this is going to do is give you an idea of tween schedules. A lot of these kids are really busy, especially in that after school time slot. So you might find that there's nothing offered on Friday afternoons, and that may not be your first choice of programming times, but it may be the time that works for the tweens in your community. You might also look at evenings, weekends, doing some intense programming over spring break, winter break, summer, or you may also consider taking your programming out of the library and going to schools or other locations to provide that programming. You may need to meet the tweens where they are, and I'm sure that you can find them. And it doesn't make your library programming any less valuable. So each week, I'm planning to share at least one example of a tween program that I have personally done, just to kind of give you some more ideas beyond what you'll find in our readings and our articles and blog posts and things. So today I'll talk about a Garfield birthday party that we hosted several years in a row at the library. So Garfield the cat, everyone loves Garfield, and I never ever would have thought that Garfield was popular with tweens, except for the fact that every desk shift I worked, we had tweens coming in asking where the Garfield books were. We happened to keep them in our library in the teen humor section, so they were a little bit hidden, but we had so many requests for them that I thought I have got to jump on this. So Garfield the cat, his birthday is June 19th, so this is perfect timing for you all. If you're starting to think about summer programs for next year, you may want to include this one in your listings. So Garfield has a birthday on June 19th. Of course, we threw a birthday party. I called it Garfield Fans Unite, and I did not limit it just to tweens. So you have so many choices when you are planning your programs. You can open it up to any age, but kind of plan it with tweens in mind. You can limit it to tweens, whatever you want to do. But for this program, I chose to open it up to any age, but I really advertised most to tweens. But anyone was welcome. Drop in. We did ask for sign up because we served, of course, lasagna. So I wanted to be sure to be able to avoid food allergies, and we also had balloons, so I wanted to be able to ask about latex allergies. So sign up is kind of its own monster, right? And it has its pros and cons, but for this program we decided to do it because of the food allergies and the latex allergies. And it would also give us just kind of a better idea of how many to expect, so when we were preparing supplies we could have a general ballpark idea. So for this program, I structured it in stations, and it was a drop-in in terms of drop-in any time during, I believe we had it for an hour. So you could drop in at any time during that hour. You could stay for the whole hour if you wanted to. And people who dropped in had their choice of stations. You could do all the stations. You could do one of the stations multiple times. It was completely up to you. But the stations were, we had Garfield coloring sheets, of course. I mean, I always think, oh, tweens, they're beyond coloring. No, they love it. They love it. We had a Garfield trivia quiz. We had some blank comics where the kids filled in the speech bubbles for the Garfield characters. We had books for browsing and checkout. We had cartoons playing on the big screen, the old school Garfield and Friends and the farm. We had the lasagna, and then we also had, this was probably the most popular, and I literally threw it together in about 5 minutes because I felt like I needed one more thing, and it was a speed gift wrapping station. All you need is newspaper, a stopwatch or a clock with a second hand, tape, and a small box. And the kids just wrapped up the box in the newspaper like it was gift wrap, and we timed them. And then the next person would have to unwrap it and wrap it again, and we timed them, and they loved it. And it was great because the newspaper was just a withdrawn newspaper from our collection, and so it was very low investment, super fun. Yeah, so that was our Garfield birthday party, and you could obviously do lots more. You could do, a guessing jar. Actually, I think we did one year do a guessing jar full of lasagna noodles. It was a huge cookie jar, a glass cookie jar full of lasagna noodles. So they guessed how many lasagna noodles were in the jar. And you could make something like the trivia quiz as interactive as you wanted to. You could do it, in teams or something like that. But that's what we did. It was really fun. Everyone had a great time. We had a huge range of ages, but we certainly had the most, the bulk of our patrons were tweens for that program. So I'll leave you with that, and I look forward to discussing this week, and I look forward to chatting with you next week too. Thank you. Bye-bye.